board. 300 went down with the ship, and it was never really talked about because of what happened just days later, and that was the first atomic bomb and the end of the war. It was lost to history until Jaws brought it back to life, believe it or not. It's the USS Indianapolis, and they think they have found it somewhere in the Pacific. Ryan Burrow, ABC News correspondent, is following the story. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning. Yeah, found by a group set up by Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen. You know that these billionaires like to have these kind of exploratory things. They can play around with their money a little bit, and they think that they found it, discovered some photos 18,000 feet below the surface in the Pacific Ocean. They got a tip-off from a naval historian who seemed to kind of had the location pinpointed. Were able to go down, snap some photos, and sure enough, the wreckage they found down there has CA-35, which is the USS Indianapolis. Now, there were 1,100 people, actually 1,196 men aboard that vessel back in July of 1945. When the torpedo hit it, it went down in 12 minutes so quickly that there was not even a time to send out a distress call. It wasn't until days later that American military personnel actually came across the wreckage and found about 300 men still alive. About 880 died. Many of those men actually died as a result of dehydration as well as shark attacks. So just an incredible story. 22 of those survivors still alive today. This, they say, will provide them with a little bit of closure moving forward. Obviously, the family members of the victims as well.
When are we going to see the pictures?
Yeah, pictures are starting to pop up a little bit. They're going to do a little bit more searching and a little bit more photographs. You can see, it's kind of hard when you're that far underground to see the full magnitude of the size of the ship, but there are some pictures out there if you search online for USS Indianapolis with small portions of it, including those CA-35 identification numbers.
How many of the 317 that survived not only the torpedo, but then the 4 days in the water and the shark attacks, how many of those 317 people are still alive?
22. 22 remain, and they made a statement through a spokesperson saying that they had longed for the day when their ship would be found. So, a little bit of a closure for them. Obviously, it doesn't heal all of the wounds, but, at least they seem to know where it is now. And that location, by the way, is now preserved as a memorial site. Now, I don't think, this thing is 18,000 feet down. It's in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. I don't think they're going to put anything there to indicate as fact, but it is still part of the USS or the U.S. Navy possession. So we'll see what they do with it moving forward.
Also, what the captain, I believe, was court-martialed, but then once the information came out years later, wasn't his court-martial reversed?
I'm not familiar with that part of the story of that. That very well may be. We know that the ship had just gotten done delivering that the weaponry that would be used in Japan to essentially end the war. And you mentioned, everything kind of flew under the radar after that. So I'm sure we'll be getting more stories here coming up very shortly about this crew.
It's for Navy buffs, historians, and it's an unbelievable story of courage, of valor. All that was lost because of the events that overshadowed it days later. They have found the wreckage of the USS Indianapolis. Ryan Burrow, thanks for checking in.
Get the movie script ready. All right, take care.
You got it.